Which HTTP methods are commonly used in REST API operations? A. Get, post, put, delete. B. Create, read, update, delete. C. Insert, select, update, delete. D. Send, receive, modify, delete. And correct answer is option A. Get, post, put, delete. HTTP methods such as get, post, put, patch, and delete are used in RESTful API development to specify the type of action being performed on a resource. RESTful HTTP methods are an essential component of developing web APIs in the REST architectural style. What is the difference between put and patch methods in REST API? A. Put is used for creating resources, while patch is used for updating resources. B. Put updates the entire resource, while patch updates only specific fields of a resource. C. Put requires authentication, while patch does not. D. Put is idempotent, while patch is not. And correct answer is option B. Put updates the entire resource, while patch updates only specific fields of a resource. Patch is used to apply partial updates to a resource, meaning that only the fields that need to be changed are sent in the request body. Put is used to replace the entire resource with a new representation, meaning that all the fields of the resource are sent in the request body, even if they are not modified. What is the role of the content type header in a REST API request? A. It specifies the HTTP method to be used. B. It defines the format of the request payload. C. It provides authentication credentials. D. It determines the cache control policy for the request. And correct answer is option B. It defines the format of the request payload. The content type representation header is used to indicate the original media type of the resource prior to any content encoding applied for sending. In responses, a content type header provides the client with the actual content type of the returned content. What is the purpose of the authorization header in a REST API request? A. It specifies the format of the request payload. B. It provides additional metadata about the request. C. It provides authentication credentials for accessing protected resources. D. It determines the cache control policy for the request. And correct answer is option C. It provides authentication credentials for accessing protected resources. The HTTP authorization request header can be used to provide credentials that authenticate a user agent with a server, allowing access to a protected resource. The authorization header is usually, but not always, sent after the user agent first attempts to request a protected resource without credentials. What is the difference between post and put methods in REST API? A. Post is used for creating resources, while put is used for updating resources. B. Post updates the entire resource, while put updates only specific fields of a resource. C. Post requires authentication, while put does not. D. Post is used for creating resources, while put updates only specific fields of a resource. And correct answer is option A. Post is used for creating resources, while put is used for updating resources. The post method is used to submit an entity to a resource. It is used for creating a new resource or adding a new entity to an existing resource. When a post request is sent, the server creates a new resource and assigns a new URL to it. The put method is used to update a resource or create a new resource if it does not exist. When a put request is sent, the entire resource is replaced with the new data. If the resource does not exist, it will be created. Which HTTP status code range indicates a client error? A. 100 to 199. B. 200 to 299. C. 400 to 499. D. 500 to 599. And correct answer is option C, 400 to 499. HTTP response status codes indicate whether a specific HTTP request has been successfully completed. Responses are grouped in 5 classes. Informational responses, 100 to 199. Successful responses, 200 to 299. Redirection messages, 300-399. Client error responses, 400 to 499. Server error responses, 500 to 599. In REST API design, what is idempotency? A. The ability of an API to handle multiple requests in parallel. B. The property that a method can be called multiple times without different outcomes. C. The capability of an API to update data. D. The feature of an API that allows it to delete resources. And correct answer is option B, the property that a method can be called multiple times without different outcomes. When an HTTP method is idempotent in a REST API, this means that if you send multiple identical requests, only the initial request would cause a change. Therefore, the results returned to the user will not depend on how many times the method has been called. What is the primary purpose of the HTTP options method in REST APIs? A. To update a resource. B. To retrieve the communication options available on a resource or server. C. To delete a resource. D. To create a resource. And correct answer is option B, to retrieve the communication options available on a resource or server. Each method has a specific purpose and meaning, and they are used to perform different actions on a resource. The HTTP options method is used to request information about the communication options available for a given resource. Which of the following best describes HTOS in the context of REST APIs? A. A specific set of rules for designing API endpoints. B. A protocol similar to HTTP used exclusively in REST APIs. C. A constraint of REST application architecture that keeps the client and server loosely coupled. D. An architectural style that enables easy navigation between resources through hyperlinks. And correct answer is option D, an architectural style that enables easy navigation between resources through hyperlinks. HTOS is what makes the REST architecture unique. It emphasizes that a client's interaction with a server should be driven entirely through hypermedia provided dynamically by server responses. What is the function of the accept header in an HTTP request in REST APIs? A. Specifies the MIME type that the server can send back. B. Specifies the MIME type of the request body. C. Provides the version of the HTTP protocol used. D. Specifies the types of responses the client can understand. And correct answer is option D, specifies the types of responses the client can understand. The accept request HTTP header indicates which content types, expressed as MIME types, the client is able to understand.